Hello everybody, welcome to Totally Tabled. My name is Shaggy, and today I just want to give you my first impressions of Heat Pedal to the Metal. In particular, I want to talk about the solo mode because that's the only way that I've played, and in fact, I've done a full solo playthrough on the channel. Please go check that out if you haven't, because in this review, I'm going to assume that you know how Heat works. I might even spoil that playthrough for you, and you definitely don't want that because it was an exciting finish. Photo finish. So definitely go watch that. There's a link in the description below. Now, I'm actually a really big fan of racing games, and there really aren't that many that you can play solo. So when I heard about this, I was really excited. I also don't have that many pure racing games in my collection. A lot of games feature betting, or all the players are kind of moving all the cars. Here, you are one of the cars, you're just moving yourself, and you're just trying to cross the finish line first. And by now, you've probably heard all the hype and praise for this game, and you're not going to hear anything different from me. It's easily my favorite pure racing game. But the thing that's really putting this over the top for me is the solo system. The fact that you can so simply and easily control 5 other cars so that you can have a full 6-car race and it can still be interesting and full of tension. That's the real triumph here. This legend system in fact means that no matter what the player count, I don't see any reason to play this with less than 6 cars. Right? You're playing a 3-player game, throw in 3 bots. That makes a huge difference for racing games because if the track is too empty, then you lose a lot of tension, you lose a lot of interaction, a lot of interesting moments. If it's too full, then it becomes too much of a cluster. The fact that with these bots, you can so easily nail just the right number of cars, no matter what the player count, that's fantastic, and I think makes this, sort of a must play for any racing fan. Now, if you're not really into racing games, is this going to, change your mind? Is this going to be some sort of revelation to play? Probably not. But it just nails it. It gives you everything that you want from that genre of game. And the most important thing is it's quick. It feels like a race. You're moving around there quickly, unlike some of these more heavy simulation style racing games that are very ponderous and slow. The system here manages to be quick while also being thinky enough and having enough interesting decisions and interesting moments to keep me wanting to come back more and more and play it on different tracks with different weather conditions, with different cards, different parts in my car. That's a really great balance to achieve. And it's not simple, and it speaks to just how great of a design this is. So what makes it so great? Well, this heat system where you have heat on your engine block, and you're basically using that as a currency in order to do things. But you're punished for doing that because then it goes into your discard pile, it cycles back into your hand, it's a dead card in your hand, and then you have to use cooldown in order to get that heat out of your hand back on your engine so then you can use it again. So you got this heat cycle. Most of the time, in order to cool down, you need to be going slower, right? The speed you're going is the number of cards you can play. So you slow down, you cool down, get that heat out of your hand, speed up, and then you're sort of generating more heat, using heat to boost, things like that. So that cycle and the timing of how you do that is critical and interesting. It works, and it creates these great moments where it's like, oh, I want to go fast, but I'm building up all this heat. Can I get to that corner at the right time? Can I gear down just right to get that heat out of my hand as I'm going through the corner? And also this great idea of if I have enough heat available, then I can sort of blow through those corners, use up that heat, and get like a real jump ahead. But is that going to come back to bite me when I don't have the heat that I need in order to do the things that I want to do? So that's just a great system. And then you combine that with the stress cards where, you're doing a little push your luck. You build up those stress cards, you start approaching those corners, and, you start thinking to yourself, okay, maybe I can play a stress card, but if I draw a 4, that's a lot of heat I'm going to have to be spending because I'm going to be going too fast around those corners. So maybe I save my stress for a straightaway, but then I really want to be going fast. I might start drawing some low numbers and get a little further behind. That's really great. And then I also love the slipstreaming here and how that works. Since everyone's playing their cards simultaneously and in secret, you don't know exactly where people are going to be, right? So you can't completely just game the system and know exactly that you're going to be putting yourself behind someone in order to slipstream. But you can kind of figure out where they might be, where they might want to be, and try to plan around that. And then if you're behind, you can use that adrenaline, that little extra boost, in order to give you even more chance to be able to slipstream. And so that's a nice catch-up mechanism that, keeps the race close and tense and exciting. And that's what you want. I think there's some real strategy there in maybe you want to fall behind a little bit and then sort of catch up at the right time. There's some subtle things here. And it really is about getting these subtle advantages. If you watch the playthrough, I think the playthrough is really instructive in that I made some mistakes. I put myself into some bad positions, and that cost me. And it was maybe even a little subtle that it was a bad decision. It wasn't overtly bad, but you put yourself 3 away when there's a number 2 corner, and now you can't really get through that corner properly. These little mistakes can be a big deal in this game. But then likewise, I had a couple moments where I had a really good turn, pulled off something a little bit more complicated, gained a little bit of an advantage. That's kind of what this game is about. Little mistakes, little cool plays. And honestly, I think the modules, it's great that you can play a basic game, especially if you're playing with newer gamers or stuff, but I would always want to play with all the modules on. I want the weather. I want the road conditions. I definitely want the garage module that has all the cool different parts that you can draft at the beginning to make your car unique to everyone else's. And you can do all these really cool things. That adds so much replayability to a pure racing game. The gameplay is never going to change, right? You're always going to be going around this lap. And the base game comes with 4 different maps, and that makes a big difference. And you start adding those different road conditions and different weather, that makes a difference. But then you put these parts in, and it's just so good. It really changes up the gameplay and makes it exciting. So would I recommend this for just solo play? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the multiplayer is going to be fantastic, again, because you can add in those bots. You don't have to play at 6. You could play this at 2 with 4 bots, and it's fantastic. The bots mean that it's great at every player count. How cool is that? Other designers need to take note of this, because this kind of concept can be added into other games to make non-ideal player counts better. That's what the solo system does here, the bot system. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely recommend. And I hope that we get tons of expansions for this. I'm sure we will. This is incredibly easily expandable just with new maps, new cards, new ideas. I do hope, though, that we get more than just new maps. I hope they go the downforce route where we get weird stuff. I want the F-Zero expansion, where we get jumps and just crazy stuff, different obstacles. Give me a loop-de-loop. Give me things crossing the road. Give me weird splits and things. Yeah, I would love for this to get some goofy expansions along with new maps and things like that. So anyway, add me to the chorus of praise. That is Heat, Pedal to the Metal. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.